Welcome to Tree Doctors. We're on the road with Ed Dickey, the head tree doctor at Dickey Tree Service. We're going to hunt up some interesting trees and give you some tips on how to take care of your trees. It's all coming up right now on Tree Doctors.
The tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service can inject a zap back in your tree's sap. Research has showed that ice-damaged trees are stressed, and stressed trees lead to insect and disease attacks. Micro tree injection is the answer for your trees. Micro tree injection is a closed system, delivering the exact dose of systemic chemical directly to the sap stream of the tree. Once the problem is identified, the tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service can inject vitamins, minerals, or insecticide directly into the sap stream of your trees. This bypasses the roots and provides immediate results. Micro tree injection has been university tested and field proven for over 35 years. After the tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service treat your trees, you receive a written 1-year guarantee. We won't treat a tree we don't think we can help. Let the tree doctors at Dickey Tree Service put the zap back in your tree's sap.
Daddy phoned to tell us that old tree might have to come down. The one I had the tree house in and chased my wife around. He said a neighbor showed him where it was busting at the trunk. And if the snow got heavy, it could crack down to the stump. We got to save our family tree. It's such a big part of our history. What a nostalgic sight to see. We got to save our family tree. Grandpa said they planted it when he was just 8 years old. His mama kept the clods broke up while his daddy dug the hole. I phoned up a friend of mine that lives in our hometown. He said he knew a tree doctor didn't like to cut trees down. The man went out and checked our tree and bolted it back together. He said it would last a lifetime, no matter what the weather. We got to save our family tree. It's such a big part of our history. What a nostalgic sight to see. We got to save our family tree. Yes, we got to save our family tree.
Let's catch up with Ed Dickey, the head tree doctor at Dickey Tree Service, right now on Tree Doctors. I'm at the home of Dale Briggs in Blytheville, and you've heard me talk about Don Redwoods before, and here's some of the oldest you're going to find in this part of the country. Mr. Briggs's wife, he told me that she planted these in 1962. These are about 42 years old, and you'd think they're older than that from the size of them. There's a large one behind me also, and in the front yard there's one more. And they are similar to a cypress tree, but this is a Don Redwood. Driving down the road, you probably would think these are cypress, but they have their own identity, and they're really a cool tree. The way they put down the roots a little different from the basal swell of a cypress. They do it a little different. This is a Don Redwood, and 42 years, that's a pretty good sized tree. I'm here at the home of Bill and Evelyn Ward in Blyville, and a year or so ago we treated all these trees in the yard for the Wards. And what was going on, Bill, when you called me?
Well, they just looked kind of dead looking. Real light looking leaves, and it just looked like they were really sick.
Right, and Miss Ward, what did you say was going on at the time?
Well, the leaves were falling off the trees at the wrong time of the year. They were just crinkled and falling off, and so we knew there was a problem somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. Did you notice a difference after we treated them for you?
We certainly did, because you said that had borers in them, and the leaves greened up and stiffened up like they were supposed to, and quite a difference in them altogether.
Yes, ma'am. Did you notice a difference, Mr. Ward?
Yeah, quite a bit greener. I mean, a rich green.
Yes, sir. It shows it's a healthy tree. That way it makes them start coming back green like they should be. Y'all have a business here in Blyville. What business y'all operate?
Quality printing on Ash Street.
How long you been in business, sir?
23 years.
23 years. And are you involved in the business, Miss Ward?
I'm involved in it every day. It's a family business, our son and his wife and Bill and myself.
That's right. I've had the pleasure here a few days ago working on your son's trees in Manila, I think it was, and I'll be talking to him one of these days on the show. But he had reminded me that about y'all, and I figured I'd stop by here and luck out and catch you home. I'm glad I did catch you home.
We appreciate it so much.
And I gave you some follow-up instruction stuff that you do yourself, some minor stuff, and have y'all done that, a little of that?
Well, we've done a little of it, but we're so well pleased with the way they look, we hadn't done much to them.
Yes, sir. Normally, there's very little you have to do after they're once treated.
They look good, very good.
Yes, sir, they do. And I appreciate y'all taking a minute and talking about them.
Thank you, sir. You do a good job.
I'm here at historic Walker Park here in Blyville, and right by the sign that's inside the park, it tells about Mr. Walker, and he had the ambition of this becoming a city park, and it tells the story of it, and he reserved this ground for being cleared years ago, and it was acquired by the Mississippi County Fair Association January 2nd, 1936. And this was developed to afford the people a place for recreation and entertainment in surroundings approaching the general natural appearance of this great delta. And that's what they've done. They've kept these trees, and for the past 3 years, the Blyville Unlimited had hired our firm. We treated a third of all these trees in the park 3 years ago. The next year we did another third, and this year we finished them off. So all these large, majestic trees have been took care of by us. And this is a great park. It's took care of real good, and if you're here in Blyville, you need to stop by and take a look at it. Great swimming pool in the park area. It's just got a lot to offer people, but that's what a park's meant to be. And the trees out here, they're just big, and they are great trees. So if you get a chance to check out Blyville's park, it's gorgeous. We're here in Leachville now with Ronnie Kennett, and Ronnie, we're looking at a bunch of your nice trees here, and you had spoke a few minutes ago about a little bit about this area here. Tell me a little bit about what you know about.
Well, this area is called Buffalo Island, and the area that it includes is if you go east to Big Lake, from Big Lake to St. Francis River on the west, and then the Missouri line down to Caraway, south of Caraway towards Rivervale, and it comes to a point there in Rivervale, and that's called Buffalo Island.
Almost surrounded, well, it is surrounded by rivers, isn't it?
Right, it's surrounded by rivers. It is an island, and back in the teens, I hear of people talking about that, and I've talked with the people who have studied the geographical records, the geological records, and said this was a swampland, and there were a lot of cypress trees, huge cypress trees. And then when they built the levees on, to keep the waters off of us from Big Lake, then this became outstanding farming country, and so as a result, what we have today, you won't find a cypress tree on Buffalo Island now, I don't suppose. There may be one seldom, but most of them are gone.
Right, they cut them all. Well, all the floodway ditches, flows into the Big Lake, is that right?
Right, from Missouri, yes,
A lot of people aren't aware, but when those ditches was dug, back around the turn of the century, I think that's when they were done, there were more dirt moved on those than they were digging the Panama Canal.
Well, you can understand that when you see the length of them and how wide they are, you can understand that.
I think it was in the either 20s or 19s or something like that that they did those projects. But it took a long time, didn't it?
Some of the engineering feats they did back then, it's hard to see how they did it with the equipment they had, and most of it was men and strong backs and mules, and they got a lot of work done.
Oh, it's the same way with the logging. They moved some of those big, enormous trees. And I appreciate you reminiscing a little bit about that.
Well, thank you. All right.
We're here in Steele, Missouri, and here's an oak tree that recently got hit by lightning, and it knocked all the bark off of it. This tree's still green, and I told the homeowner here that, you know, I wouldn't take his money. You cannot keep this tree alive because all of its bark was blew away. It's even busted in through the center here, and you can see the little pieces of splinter coming out. He's choosing to leave it here till all the leaves die, which is fine. But it's just a matter of a few months and it's gone. It's not worth spending any money on because when lightning does that, it just ruins your tree. Can't help this one. I'm here in Blyville with Lynn Rowe, and Lynn, why don't you tell me a little bit about what was going on with this tree a few years back?
It got struck by lightning 7 years ago, maybe even longer than that, and we were advised to have it cut down, and then I called you, and you came and put a rod in it, put some little things around the bottom of it, and then you came back again, put another rod in it, put some more little things around the bottom of it, and it's still standing. And we hope it keeps standing, or else it's going to fall in the house.
Yes, ma'am. I remembered when I talked to Lynn about it, I told her she could get at least another 5 to 10 years out of it, and she said if she got that, she'd be happy. Hadn't gave you any trouble since, has it, Lynn?
No, not at all. 2 years ago, I had it trimmed back on the house side a lot to keep it, if it did go down, not too much would go on the house. But that took a little, well, I think you advised us to do that too, to get a little bit of weight off on that side.
Yes, ma'am.
It still leaves out every year, and it's doing fine.
Oh, it's still a great old tree, and it makes your house look better. It sure does. And we also put a rod in another tree there close to your residence, didn't we?
Yeah, because that one was starting to split apart too, so instead of cutting that one down, you put a rod in that one and save that one too.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I thank you for taking a minute and talking to us about your trees.
All right, thank you.
We'll be back with more Tree Doctors right after this brief message. Stick around, won't you? Hello, I'm Ed Dickey, the tree doctor at Dickey Tree Service. I'm coming to you from inside of a tree. We've been getting inside of trees for 35 years. We get to the root of the problem. Give us a call. We know how to save your trees. We put the chemical where it needs to be, inside your tree, taking care of insect and disease problems. We're often imitated, but never duplicated. We've been doing this 35 years. We know what we're doing. Give us a call. We're the tree doctors, Dickey Tree Service. It's not hard to see what killed these trees. It was boreworms. The borer is a hard insect to control, virtually untouched with spraying and other applications. But with systemic injection, when the borer eats the tree, the borer dies. Trees are dying all over, but we've got the cure. We give a 1-year guarantee when we treat your trees for the borers. We've been doing this 35 years and we know what we're doing. Give us a call. We're the tree doctors, Dickey Tree Service, in your yellow pages under trees. It's time now for mailbag. That's when we talk about some of the questions that y'all sent us through the computer or we got through the mail. This one here is from Vernon in Batesville. Why should I use your company or one of your tree doctors to treat my trees when there's others that claim to do what you do? That's a good question, Vernon. The problem is the people who claim to do what we do, that's what they do. They just claim to do what we do. A lot of our products we used are protected with under the patent and trademark laws. We own the actual rights to them, and no other company can use those. They were developed by us. Some of them goes back to in the early 80s, the products that's being used in your trees. Also, you will find that we stay abreast with modern changing technology. And some of the ones that claim to do what we do, if you'll research what they're doing stuff that we quit doing several years ago. And there's a reason for that. There's a better way. And as better ways come to be, we use those better ways. So it's kind of like the old saying, you kind of get what you pay for. But in another aspect of that, our technology has got so good that we offer a 1-year guarantee when we treat the trees. Nobody, as far as I know, offers any kind of guarantee after treating your trees. We get 2 years worth of residual when we treat your trees out of killing the insect and stuff. That's why we can offer a 1-year guarantee. One of these days we'll probably be able to offer a 2-year guarantee as technology lets us. So the patented and trademark products that we use in what we do and the staying abreast of the technology is what gets you more bang for the buck. And also now, and we just started doing this here of late, we can actually treat every tree in your yard cheaper than we could do 2 or 3 trees a few years ago. So as opposed to going up, the prices have came down. And as the technology gets better, we can pass that savings right on to the customer. And I don't think you'll see that out of those other companies that claim that. This is from Sandy in Lepanto, Arkansas. I've got 3 gum trees that the balls on it really cause us a fit. Are there any way we can treat these trees to keep from having the balls? Well, Sandy, yes there is, but I don't do that. There is a treatment that you can do, and you have to do it each year. It's quite expensive, and it gets rid of 80 to 90% of the sweet gum balls. And there might be others out there that do it. The reason why we don't endorse it, yeah, it's extremely expensive. You have to do it year in and year out. Pretty soon, take my word for it, you'll be so mad at the trees, having spent all that money, you'd be cutting them down. And we don't like cutting trees down that don't need to be cut down. But there's actually a spray you can spray on it, which is quite expensive each year, or you can inject it. At the right time, you have a window of opportunity from, I think, about 7 to 21 days to get the product on there. And it's a non-fruiting thing, and it actually was made from a product that was developed out in California to keep from watermelons, producing a bunch of watermelons. Just leave one watermelon on the vine, made the watermelon bigger. And that's where this come from, and also a little research that was done on olive trees, and a product called Olive Off also is used for the sweet gum balls. But we don't do that, and until they come up with one that lasts a long time where you don't get mad at your tree and have to cut it down, we won't be doing it. But that's what you can do for sweet gum balls. But on a different note on the same subject, if you'll think about how much trouble that sweet gum tree caused you otherwise, we hardly ever have to treat a sweet gum tree for borers. They're a pretty good tree, nice shade tree. Now, if you're planning on planting a tree now and gum trees turn you off, you need to look at a sour gum or a black gum. Either one of those do not have the balls. Got the same shade and everything. Remember that when you go to the nursery. Ask for a sour gum or a black gum. You won't have the balls on it. And then in future years, you won't have to worry about that problem. Hope that helps. This is from Clifford in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I've got a small 5-year-old ash tree behind the house, and my cat has used it for a scratching post. It's got to the point that the bark is busted, and I'm wondering whether the tree will survive. What can I do about this? Well, Clifford, the first thing you need to do is you need to have your cat figure a way to get your cat to stop scratching this tree. And I'd say one way you could do it is use a mixture of an insecticide that's got a smell to it, malathion. Mix up a small amount and brush that on the trunk area where it's scratching. That'll do 2 things. That'll deter the insects trying to get in there where the bark's broke, and the cat will smell that and he will stop scratching that particular tree. You also need to get a scratching post to put somewhere in the close proximity of that so it'll start using the scratching post as opposed to the tree. If you do both of those things, you'll save the tree and make the cat happy too. Hope that helps you. You're going to start seeing a mailbag on our program every week. Now, we did a survey and we found out a lot of people want their questions answered that way. And in case your question don't get answered during the mailbag segment, you can go to dickeytree.com and email us there, or you can just send it by mail to the Tree Doctors at Post Office Box 790, Jonesboro, Arkansas 72401. Let's go see what Ed Dickey's got up his sleeve right now on Tree Doctors. Another thing you need to be aware of when you're out examining your trees and in your yard is look for the jail that comes out where the borers have gone in, or holes in the trunk, sawdust around the base. But on this tree here, it's got a choker root at the bottom. This is called a girdering root. And if it's allowed to remain there, then it's going to eventually choke out this section of the tree. Now, once you identify your problem, here it is in the middle of the growing season. We won't want to cut that now, but this fall, you simply take a hatchet and cut it on that side, cut it on this side, peel it away. Don't worry with trying to get it all the way down in the ground and stuff. You just cut the part that's harming the tree off, because it's got other leaders that go here and there and hook up with other roots. You've got one starting here. I would cut that on that side and this side also to get that off of there. It won't hamper your tree's growth by waiting to fall while the tree's dormant. And next spring, you'll be glad you did, because eventually this is going to turn into a big problem. And when you see other things growing out of your tree, like here's part of a holly bush, I think, coming out of that hole, it's best to go and pull that out of there before it gets too big and causes a problem. Just a little sanitation, kind of watching and using good judgment will go a long way in taking care of your trees. All right, we was driving down the street and we noticed a man putting a face on a tree here, and we stopped and met the gentleman. This is Bill Powell. And Bill, won't you tell me a little bit about these two trees in your front yard?
Well, sir, we've been here about 40 years now, and these trees were just, I could reach around each one of them when we moved here with my two hands. And they've done got to be so big now that one would have been sufficient, I think, but we're pretty proud of both of them.
Oh, I bet you are. You had a little trouble with the ice storm with them, didn't you?
We had an ice storm, and the one on this side over here bent all the way over, and the top of it touched the ground. And I just knew it was gone, but as the ice melted, it straightened back up, and you can see what it's doing now.
Oh, it's still a fine tree. The reason I stopped, of course, is these eyes and the nose and mouth. And tell me a little something about what's going on there, Bill.
Well, our neighbor was over at Jonesboro the other day. No, she was down Little Rocks where it was, wasn't it? And she found a set of those, and when she bought them, her husband said, well, you better get Cleta one of those too. So we got our trees fixed alike here now. She's got a big pecan tree over there in her yard, and I've got these two big oaks in my yard, and we both enjoy each other's trees.
Well, sure, and puts a face on this this tree. It's kind of different, isn't it?
I thought that was kind of strange, and it's kind of cute. My wife likes it.
Yes, sir, and I caught my eye going down the street, and I think our viewers are going to appreciate seeing it. Thank you, Bill, for talking to us.
You're just welcome as you can be.
When you're out looking around your property, it's even if it's stuck in the backyard or whatever, look at your trees. Sometimes Mother Nature will give you a unusual one. Take, for example, this maple. Look how this one limb has grown just straight out to the side. So it's kind of an odd looking tree, and once it's cleaned up a little bit around, it's going to be a very unusual tree. And, you know, really worth looking at. Thought you'd get a kick out of seeing an unusual maple tree grow like this. I'm here on Bo Adams Estate right out of Leachville, and here with me is the groundskeeper, Manuel. And tell me a little bit about where we're at and what we're doing right here.
Well, we're here in the greenhouse number 1, where we keep our plants for the inside the house, and our ferns when we get new ferns in and bring out the old ones, and we kind of mix them around in and out. And then we got our plugs and annuals for the spring, to plant in the spring.
Yeah, you've got several of these structures here, don't you, on the grounds?
Oh yes, we got some potato plants, we got some ivy, and right here we got all our new plugs that we just got last week, where we grow them from plugs, and then we take them out in the spring to plant in our beds out there.
Okay, so you're kind of self-sufficient as far as starting them out a little bitty, small size all the way up to the big size. How many of the greenhouses do you have here on the grounds?
We got 3 greenhouses, and usually by the time the spring comes along, that we use all 3 of them, because they get so big that we have to separate them, and we use all three greenhouses.
I noticed there's a lady here that helps in the greenhouse. She was reluctant to get on camera with us, wasn't she, Manuel?
Yeah, Christina's the one that really does all the planting and all the transplanting and planting out on the urns, planting out in the beds, and she really takes care of most of the stuff here, most of our plants.
Well, good deal. And this is just such a neat setup, and it's the climate controlled year round, isn't it? So you can just keep them going.
Yes, yes. We keep them during the winter months. We keep all our ferns going because of, like I said, we switch them out inside the house. And Miss Myrna loves those ferns. So when she's here, we always have new ferns, fresh ferns inside the house for her.
That's good. You just keep switching them out. We'll go out on the grounds, and we'll talk a little bit more about your established trees.
Okay.
Manuel, before you was over the grounds here, you remember my cruise here when we treated these trees back in '91, don't you?
Yeah, I sure do. I remember it was David Vines. He was in charge. He was a caretaker here of the estate. And yeah, you all came out here back in '91 when I first started working out here.
Right, and only tree I'd like to mention that's been damaged since then, this one got hit by lightning.
Yeah, it sure did. It was in '91 when it got hit by lightning.
But basically, the biggest part of the trees are just growing and doing good, aren't they?
Yeah, everything's doing real good. All the trees. I don't know how many we got, but yeah, we got a bunch of them.
Manuel and Manuel and I were just talking a moment ago off camera, and I asked him had he done a count on how many trees he got, and he said no, he's thinking about doing that in the near future because it'd be nice to know, and probably you'll do that, won't you?
Yeah, I sure will. I'll get a count on all the trees we got, and then we'll have a count and know exactly how many trees we got out here.
There you go, and because I think it's going to surprise you how many you do got.
Yeah, that's true.
On 90 acres, my goodness. But your shrubbery and everything, and how many people do you have help you with the grounds, Manuel?
Usually during the summer, we got about 7 people out here working with us, and then when it gets real, hectic, we get about 3 or 4 more people to help us for 2 or 3 months, and then they're gone. So, but during the winter months, we keep about 4 or 5 people at the most.
Right, and it's a full-time job, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a full-time job, all right.
Yeah, right. Just getting rid of the birds turned into a full-time job.
It sure has. This year it has.
Well, Manuel, I appreciate you taking a minute to show us the grounds here, and when the leaves get back on, I want to come back here with John and we do some more filming and show you, because here being winter, don't see how pretty all these trees are, but we'll come back.
I hope you come back and see it when it's all green and the greenery and the flowers and everything's back up here.
We will do it. Thank you, Manuel.
You're welcome.
You know, every city and town needs a place for you to kind of go and stroll, find yourself, drive around, whatever, meditate. And it's generally in the parks. And there's some majestic old trees in a lot of the parks. So keep that in mind. If you get stressed out and need to kind of unwind, check out the parks. You might be glad you did.
Well, that's all the time we got for Tree Doctors today. We sure appreciate you joining us. Remember, if you have any questions, you get a hold of Ed at dickeytree.com or call the number below. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Tree Doctors.